guys are awesome. Now, one chant I'm not sure I heard from Brad that I think we got to get going. This is a chant that if you did it at a Democrat event, they'd throw you in jail for life. But how about USA? Oh, guys, I love it. I love it. Well, we've had a pretty good week, huh? No obstruction, no collusion, and what everyone else in this room, other than maybe the people on the podium there, knew all along, no shit. It's pretty crazy. Other side didn't want to believe it. I'm saying, you know what? I don't know. I'm pretty sure that the billionaire from New York didn't just leave that lifestyle to deal with these idiots in DC to do it for Russia for some reason. Never quite made sense to me. Oh, but the media loved it. You know, and they killed me for saying that. Just like they killed me when I said, I don't know, I have a question. Jussie Smollett was attacked by these people wearing MAGA hats in downtown Chicago. No, they said I was a terrible person. I said, I don't know anyone, first of all, dumb enough to wear a Make America Great Again hat in downtown Chicago, okay? I said, if you did so, the over-under on life expectancy would be about 10 to 15 seconds. All right? So I said, I don't know. Doesn't make sense. It also didn't make sense to me how people would be out at 2 in the morning on the coldest night of the year, right? With, you know, obviously carrying around bleach, which we all do, and rope, waiting for a very rich actor to maybe go to Subway at 2 in the morning. I mean, I don't know. I'd probably order Seamless on the coldest night of the year, but so I just asked the question. I go, it doesn't exactly sound right. Oh my God, Donald Trump Jr. spreading conspiracy. I know, wasn't spreading anything. I was asking a simple question that if anyone else had a brain, like many of the people in this room do, you were asking the same question, saying, I don't know, doesn't make sense. But if you do that, you're a terrible person, you're one of the ists, because they brand you, and that's what they try to do. So I questioned, and I don't know, guess what? But I mean, you guys got to talk to your little, you know, kind of neighbor over here, because what's going on over there is nuts. But at least we're all seeing it. It's sort of what we've gotten used to and what we've seen. But, you know, regardless, I think last week was a pretty good week. And it was a great week the week before, actually, right? You had sort of the Barr initial report, you know, because I'm old enough to remember 3 weeks ago when Mueller was the greatest thing in the world, according to the Democrats. Okay. Mueller went from hero to hater in about 2 seconds. Okay, now they want to bring him in for questioning. You know, you can't make this crap up. You really can't. But it was a good week the week before, and I thought it couldn't get much better because MAGA, for that week and that week alone, stood for something different. It stood for Michael Avenatti got arrested. This week, it's back to Make America Great Again. But that week, I was like, you know what? We're going to let it mean a little something different because, man, that was pretty funny. But that goes to show you what we were dealing with. Remember when CNN and MSNBC, we're going to take him seriously as a candidate for the presidency. This is our guy. He's going to... Meanwhile, his only actual accomplishment, which is pretty impressive in a criminal sort of way, was being indicted simultaneously on 2 different coasts for 2 different crimes. I mean, I gotta give credit where credit is due. That's some impressive stuff. I mean, I wouldn't want to do it. I wouldn't want any of you to do it, but you know, if you're a scumbag, that's pretty impressive. So, you like that? We're good? Thank you. So, the Democrat-funded war on Trump, $35, $40 million, the Mueller investigation, failed miserably. All right? In terms of the end result that everyone we know on that side and in the media was hoping for. You know what, I never thought there'd be a time in my life where I'd actually see Democrats incredibly upset, distraught, in tears, because their president did not collude with the Russians. I mean, think about that. Think about it. They're upset that treason was not committed. This is the brain trust we're dealing with, folks. This is like the Bernie Sanders of the world and all of his friends that want to let terrorists vote. Because their opinions should be heard. The Boston bomber should have a say in who represents him from prison in Boston. Think about that mentality, folks. That's what put us in this mess. But you know what? We are in Wisconsin. I mean, this is a place, hey, it's been a long time since a Republican has won here. All right? There's a lot of history of voting for Democrats, whether it's through labor or all of these things. So we turn that around because you get it. But you do. You saw it. And again, make no mistake. I understand that in 2016, you guys took a big chance on my father, right? What was different? Yeah, what was different from him than any other politician making promises? You've been hearing it for decades. Well, you're right, ma'am. He's smart. Yes, that is a big distinction. But I'm turned, in terms of the cell, thank you. Even I can't get that right. So but no, when he was on stage here promising things, you've been hearing promises for decades. But now, look at the numbers, guys, across the board. 5 million new jobs in America. Many of those right here in Wisconsin. You've been hearing about that for decades, but we've just been shipping our jobs overseas. Now they're back here. Unemployment, the lowest ever recorded. For so many groups. Hispanics, women, African American. If Obama had those kind of accomplishments, they'd make him emperor for life. When Trump does it, they pretend it doesn't exist. That's some of the media fight. I was watching last week when some of the new numbers came out. Right, you saw the GDP numbers, and that doesn't mean anything. What matters is money in your pocket, but you're getting that from tax breaks. You're seeing that, and not crumbs. All right, like the other side wants to pretend. Because thousands of dollars means something to you. It means something to real Americans. It means those things matter. You finally have a business guy making decisions. I remember a few years ago when my father was running. Why can't we hit 3%, 4% GDP growth? Why can't we hit those numbers? And by the way, that's GDP, but that means jobs, okay? That means more money in your pockets. That's why those companies were giving people bonuses this year, because they're making money and so are you. So I'm there watching this stuff, and they're saying, well, Donald, there's no magic wand for that. 1.5% failed growth, that's the new normal, according to the New York Times. Obama himself was the guy that said the no magic wand. My father's like, why? Just because you can't do it doesn't mean I can't. And the other day, they announced 3.2% growth in the first quarter, usually the worst quarter of the year. All right? Everyone spent all their Christmas money in December. Things are a little different. What'd it take? Some common sense. So there is a magic wand for that. Abracadabra, Obama. There is a magic wand. Conservative principles. How about some work ethic? Right? None of this Green New Deal. If you don't want to work, you don't have to crap. You saw that one, right? For those who don't want to work, we're going to take care of you too. Oh, that's wonderful. Why would anyone work? You can't make this stuff up. Think about it. The Green New Deal was a classic one. Brad alluded to it a little bit. $93 trillion. Okay, let's put $93 trillion into perspective, okay? The debt of the United States is about $20 trillion. That's been accumulated over about 300 years. So it's more than 4 of that. Obama doubled it, you're right. But to put things into more perspective, the US government makes about $6 trillion a year. So 15 times what the US government makes would fund the Green New Deal. To stop cows from farting, wonderful. I mean, it's probably not great for Wisconsin dairy farmers, but to stop cows from farting, to eliminate air travel, to fund those who also are not willing to work, or, you know, because there's a big difference between not willing to work and not able to work, right? Some people have problems, but some people are just lazy. There's a difference. So we saw that. I'm saying, so if the US government did nothing, we just said, you know what, forget our military, forget the VA, forget our infrastructure, forget everything, and we did nothing but fund the Green New Deal, we wouldn't be able to spend anything else for 15 years. Think about it. Because it's so asinine, it's hard to believe we're actually having this conversation. What's more asinine is that every leading Democratic contender signed on to this plan like it was wonderful. Because they weren't willing to take on, no. Because they weren't willing to say no or put into check a freshman congresswoman who, less than a month ago, could not name the 3 branches of government. I mean, think about how crazy that is. It is nuts. But we made some promises in 2016. And what are we doing now? He's actually delivering. But think about crazy. Have you ever seen a politician take so much heat for doing all of the things he said he would do? I got a question. Why doesn't the media, why don't they give hell to the people who don't do any of the things they said they were going to do? I don't know. Seems logical. It'd be wonderful if there was a profession whose job it was to maybe question people on their like $93 trillion plans, rather than just run with it as though it's the gospel. That's what we're up against. So we've been able to have an administration, probably the first in history, certainly in recent time, where we can say, promises made, promises kept. Okay? Let's say that again, because it sounds nice, and it's something we're not all that familiar with. Promises made, promises kept. Right? You wouldn't think that that would be rocket science, but we're not in a fair fight, guys. If we were in a fair fight, 2020 would be over. By any measure, by any metric. I've done this in roomfuls of like college campuses with guys like Charlie Kirk. Okay? Say hi, Charlie. You got a room full of guys, half of them are haters. I go, okay, name one metric, just one, where we are not better off today than we were at the end of the failed Obama administration. Name one. Well, she wasn't then either, so it's net neutral. All right? It doesn't exist. Every economic measure, we're better. How about foreign policy? Right? Look at the progress we've made in North Korea. He's not testing missiles. He's not setting off nukes. And for 2 years, I've got to watch TV. And I watch these guys. They get on TV. They call themselves experts, but they haven't been right in 40 years, so I don't know why we do it, but we'll give it to them, because if I call them something else, they'll get mad and upset and cry. But they get on TV, and they go, Donald Trump's doing it all wrong in North Korea. And I know, because I've been dealing with the issue for 40 years. That's when I say, wait a minute. You've been dealing with North Korea on the issues for 40 years, representing the United States. You haven't even gotten a meeting with the guy on the other side yet. You haven't even done it. My 4-year-old has accomplished as much in North Korea as those experts. Yeah? And she's just a cute, regular 4-year-old. Some of you may know her from Instagram, right? This is not one of these like pretend, you see the blue check mark media folks. My 4-year-old was talking to me today about the existential threat of nuclear proliferation on the Korean Peninsula. One of these BS woke 4-year-olds that we know they aren't actually doing this, but they're trying to make the point because their 4-year-old's talking about nuclear proliferation. My daughter's 4 years old. She's a regular 4-year-old. She likes to play. She likes to mess up my hair. She thinks it's really funny. I post it on Instagram, usually gets a pretty good response. She's not one of these woke kids. She has accomplished as much as these quote-unquote experts because they've accomplished exactly nothing. So we're making progress. How about after decades of promising to move the Israeli embassy to its rightful home in Jerusalem, we actually did it. And by the way, Bush, Clinton, other Bush, Obama, they all said they were going to do it. It passed the United States Senate 99-0. Someone was sick that day. Okay? When my father says he's going to do it, oh my God, billions, you remember this, sir, billions of people are going to die if this happens. Oh man, that's big news. If something is able to pass the United States Senate 99-0 and has been de facto law in the US for decades, you wouldn't think it would get through the Senate, right? You'd think it'd be a little bit more controversial. The next headline was, it was going to be the start of World War III. That's also big news. What actually happened? A couple morons threw rocks for about 15 seconds and it was over. But, I mean, something happened, but nothing of significance. But the rest of the world was watching, okay? The rest of the world realized we got some of our resolve back. There's a better word than resolve, but I can't say it because you know what I'm thinking about, man. I can't believe you would say that. That's not at all what I was thinking, sir. But it's true. The world was watching, and they realized that when we say something, we mean it. How about... Right? Unlike our predecessors, if we say something, we're not just going to curl up in a ball and fold like a cheap rug the second there's a little bit of pushback. It's okay. You know, how about getting rid of the insane Iran deal? How about, rather than give the world's leading state sponsor of terror $150 billion in cash, how about instead of that, not a great move. You know, you have brilliant guys like John Kerry who you wouldn't let negotiate a car lease. You know, guys falls off a bike on a national stage, like it's amazing. You guys wouldn't let him negotiate a car lease, and we're letting him negotiate $150 billion transactions with the world's leading sponsor in terror. Great. How about instead of that, let's take a few billion of those, maybe put it towards fighting pediatric cancer. How about you put it towards our public schools? How about you put it towards taking care of our vets? All places we are making strides and moves, but you won't hear about it from the media because if Trump did something good, crickets, okay? If Donald Trump walked across the lake from Chicago to here, the headline would be Trump can't swim. That's what we're dealing with, folks. Like I said, on paper, by any measure, 2020 should be a no-brainer, but it's not, okay? Because we're not in a fair fight, all right? We're fighting uphill with a dishonest media who's all on the other side, all right? No, listen, I was watching last week. True story. I was watching on social last week where there are these, you know, sort of left-wing commentators. They're laughing on social. They don't even hide anymore. Guys, it's so funny. We've done a really good job convincing Americans that they haven't gotten benefits from the tax cuts when 93 point whatever % have received pretty significant benefit. I mean, they're literally laughing that they've done a good job of selling a lie. But they're doing it on a social media platform. They're not even hiding it anymore. That's the kind of crap we're up against, okay? When we try to stop human trafficking, they don't want to do that. They don't want to build a wall because, God forbid, we stop opioids from coming across the border. God forbid we stop human trafficking. I can't make sense of it anymore. I mean, it's the same mentality of, you know, Bernie wanting the terrorists to be able to vote from prison. I mean, who's driving the ship? And again, and it's coming, guys. They released some funding, $1 billion, I think, 10 days ago, so it's coming. We're gonna stop the opioids. We're gonna stop the human trafficking. We're gonna put Americans first for a change. Guys, you guys are so lucky that this isn't a DNC rally, or they'd throw you out of here so fast you'd probably be in prison for chanting USA. You'd probably be in prison. Thank you. I love you guys too. And no, it's fun. I had some fun in Wisconsin a few weeks ago, ice fishing with some buddies of mine for all the stuff I do in the outdoors. But again, hey, as a sportsman, hunter, fisherman, all these things, other things they won't talk about. How about the $350 million the Department of the Interior is putting into the Great Lakes to fix it there, so we can enjoy our incredible natural resources? That's a pretty big deal for Wisconsin, I would think, but how many people reported on it? Just remember that, guys, because that's what we're up against. Just like the Mueller report was a Democratic hoax, the largest ever perpetrated on the American people, funded by the American people, benefiting only the Democrats. Okay? We blew that out of the water, but don't kid yourself. They got a lot out of this. Okay? Don't be naive. They got a lot out of this. They were able to hold that cloud over the head of the American people for 2 years. They were able to send my father into the midterms with people wondering, having that doubt in their mind. Hey, if that's all they got, it's a huge win, and they got it. And it was always BS, okay? But that's why, when everyone's like, oh, shouldn't you just move on? No, what happened was disgusting, okay? I got to hear about for 2 years, oh, Don, you're going to jail for what? Because Hillary Clinton paid foreign operatives to go try to spy, and I said, sure. Hey, listen, I just want everything out there. I want to know how it started, so this crap never happens again. It shouldn't happen in America. It shouldn't happen anywhere. Release it all. The coup failed, but again, they were able to do some damage in a midterm. It's still a pretty big win. So that's why I just want to thank all of you from the bottom of my heart, because last week's win, it wasn't just a win for my father, for me personally, for our family. It was a win for all of you because you stuck with us. You didn't believe that crap for a second. I mean, it was pretty unbelievable, but when you have the entire media complex selling it every day, all day long, I get it. It's hard. It's hard. So, that win wasn't a win for our family. It was a win for all of us. It was a win for America, and I want to thank you all. I want to thank you all for your incredible and steadfast support, because honestly, it means the world to us. The one person in the world that didn't need this job is my father. And hey, he's no baby. He didn't think it would be easy. He didn't think the left were, they were just going to be nice to him. He's a full frontal assault on the establishment on both sides. He's the sledgehammer that needed to be brought to Washington. And guys, they don't like it. We're draining the swamp, but the swamp's been there for a long time. Guys, that swamp's been there for a long time, and they're not going to go easy. But with time, with perseverance, we can keep the winning going. In 2016, my father said this to a lot of groups, what do you have to lose? Nothing. You know what? The worst recovery in the history of the country. I mean, in 2020, there's a lot to lose, guys. All right? The progress we've made with draining the swamp, the economy, jobs, wages going up. Most importantly, wages going up for the lowest paid workers. All of that can go away to subsidize moronic crap like the Green New Deal, to take that money, to give it to illegal immigrants to flood our schools and hurt our kids' prosperity and education. There's a time when we can help others, and no country in the world is more generous than America, all right? Oftentimes by good conservative Americans in terms of their donations. But we have to take care of our problems first. We have to fix the mess that generally democratic policies have put us in. We have to keep the winning going to make America great again. And that's why we need you. All right, this message isn't going to be disseminated on the news. You're not going to read about it. The social media giants, like they do with my accounts, they're going to slow it down. They're going to make sure you don't see it. If you're following me today, you may not be following me tomorrow through no fault of your own. That's the battle we're in, guys. So we're going to do it the old-fashioned way, the way we got here in the first place. And we're going to do that with your help as a team. Get out there, speak to people, register them, get them to vote. Make sure people get what's really going on. Make sure people realize there is more money in your pocket despite the left lying to you about it. That's going to make all the difference in the world. That's going to push us over the edge. That's going to allow us to keep the winning going. So thank you very much, Wisconsin. It's awesome to be here. You guys are great. Thank you very much.